Okay, so here we are with process number 6, and it is meditation. When to use this process? When you want relief from resistance, when you want an easier way of immediately raising your vibration, when you want to raise your general level of vibration, and when you want to feel an awareness of your inner being. Abraham says that we can do this process all the way from the top of the emotional scale at a place of joy all the way to the bottom, which is a place of despair, or number 22. So anyone can meditate, but I can tell you that it takes more work to get into that place of meditation if you are lower on the emotional scale. It takes a little more work. Not a lot more, just a little more work. Okay, so any thought that you continue to think is called a belief. So Abraham is taking us right down to the building blocks. And many of your beliefs serve you extremely well. Thoughts that harmonize with the knowledge of your source, and thoughts that match the desires you hold. So there are a lot of things. For example, I have a belief that I will enjoy this water when I drink it, and I have a belief that drinking water is good for you. So those are not really detrimental or limiting me in any way. But we also have beliefs that do limit us in many ways, right? For example, don't do this, you can get hurt, right? Things like that. And those beliefs do limit us in many ways, and they stop us from achieving our full potential. As I like to explain it, Abraham says over here that meditation is a process that helps you to shift your beliefs. Changing a belief is a 4-step process in the manner that I teach it. So here you are, this is your starting point. This is where you want to go. But we can't jump there. The reason we are here, where we are, is because we've got negative beliefs that are getting in the way. So the first thing is to reduce the momentum, reduce the acceleration of the negative beliefs. So we kind of do some soothing self-talk, and we talk ourselves down, not the emotional scale, down momentum. And talking ourselves down from momentum is actually taking us up the emotional scale, okay? So I'm going to draw the emotional scale horizontally here, because joy, as we talk about it, is at this end, and despair, as we talk about it, is at this end over here. So what we do is we talk ourselves down from a negative place. So momentum is the depth of emotion or the speed of an emotion. The higher you are here, the more depth of emotion you have. So talk yourself down, and then you increase momentum towards positive stuff, and you talk yourself up the emotional scale towards joy with a lot of momentum. So this process takes a lot of work. You have to do a lot of self-talk to bring yourself to this point, which is your destination. What meditation does is, it's a shortcut. So without doing all of this thinking work, you can start from wherever you are over here, and you can go improve your vibration and get to this place, a place of joy. And when you are able to get to a place of joy, even for a few minutes every day, then positive manifestations are on their way. That is the reason why Abraham always tells us that the only work we ever need to do is to go up the emotional scale. If we go up the emotional scale, everything that we want is going to come together. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go back now to the book. Right. So Abraham says, it is easier for most of you to clear your minds in order to go into meditation than it is for you to to think pure positive thoughts. Because thinking pure positive thoughts, like I showed you, that takes a lot of work. But finding a space between our thoughts, that actually takes less work. So it is possible to get into meditation from wherever you are on the emotional scale. But think about it for 1 second. If you are over here in a place of despair, the only reason that you are in a place of despair is because you're not able to think positive thoughts, right? So in meditation as well, when people who are in this place of despair, they sit down for meditation, their thoughts keep going towards all the problems that they've got. And every time that happens, they have to stop and they have to go back to their thought anchor. What is a thought anchor? A thought anchor is any thought that you have decided is what you're going to return to in order to get grounded in your meditation. Usually it's the sound of our breath, but it doesn't always have to be the sound of our breath. Okay. So then Abraham says, when you offer no thought, you're also not offering any resistance. And that is so important to know. Because where does resistance come from? What is resistance? First of all, resistance is because of negative beliefs. And it is this big block of negative energy that stops us from getting anything that we want, right? And so, but it's caused by our thought process. So if we stop the thinking process and we are no longer thinking, then that resistance goes away for that period of time when we are not thinking. That's the beauty of meditation. It just jumps over all the obstacles on our path and takes us to what we want. And the beauty of it is, as life starts becoming better, so as we jump over all the obstacles and good things start happening in our life, observing those good things happening in our lives then makes us happy. And when we get happy, we are at the top of the emotional scale, and now more good things can come to us. Okay, so Abraham says, imagine a cork bobbing on a body of water. That represents the place of high, pure, fast vibration that is actually natural to you. Now imagine holding the cork down under the water. That is what resistance is like. Let go of that cork and it bobs right back up to the surface of the water. That's what our emotions are like. We keep our emotions suppressed because of the thoughts that we think. Soon as we let go those thoughts, now our emotions will rise to the top. To the top where? To joy. Okay. So then Abraham explains the process of meditation. And before I go there, before I start there, here are some really useful words to remember. You could say that the process of meditation is a shortcut to changing your beliefs, for in the absence of thought, there is no resistance within you, and your cork, so to speak, bobs naturally back up to the surface. Now, to begin the process of meditation, sit in a quiet place where you are not likely to be interrupted. Wear comfortable clothing. It does not matter if you sit in a chair or on the floor or even lie on your bed, unless you tend to fall asleep. The important thing is that your body is comfortable. So the reason, and I teach this in my meditation circle every Tuesday night, the reason you need to be comfortable physically is because if you are new to meditation, you're not an expert, you haven't been doing it for many years and doing it properly for many years, then what happens is, if you have an itch or if you need to sneeze or cough or whatever, maybe you have a cramp. It doesn't matter what it is, but if your body is trying to capture your attention, you are not going to be able to get into meditation. It's as simple as that. So make sure that you're comfortable. Now, the second thing is meditation is about creating clear space while you are conscious and awake, not when you're asleep, because sleeping is a different process. The value of meditation is to focus consciously. In sleep, we are not consciously focused, we are defocused. We are not thinking anything specific, we are not focused on anything in our sleep state. Okay, so, and then Abraham says something really important. You are by nature one who wants to focus. So in the beginning, this process of meditation will feel unnatural, and you will find your mind wanting to return to things you have been focusing on previously. When that happens, relax, breathe again, and try to release the thought. Now, there is a meditation lesson on my YouTube channel. I am going to pin the link in the comments below, but I go into a lot more depth based on Abraham's teaching. So I wrote this book called Peace Within. It's not a very big book. It's a small book and easy read. So Peace Within is a law of attraction guide to meditation, and it is based on Abraham's teachings. Everything in this book is based on what Abraham teaches us about law of attraction and meditation. And this is what I teach on Tuesday nights, every Tuesday nights, 50 weeks a year out of the 52 weeks. Okay. You will find it easier to quiet your mind if you will choose a small thought. So what I explain is a small thought that is unemotional. Because if you start thinking of something emotional, like sometimes in the beginning when I used to sit down for my meditation, my thoughts would automatically go towards food. Yes, I do enjoy food. And I enjoy cooking for my children and my friends. But as soon as I would sit down to meditate, I would start thinking about my grocery list. It was hilarious. But food is an emotional topic for me. And if you start thinking about something that's emotional to you, then you go from one thought to another thought to another thought to another thought, and pretty soon you're gone. You're not in meditation anymore. Okay? So don't think anything emotional while you're in meditation. All right. So now Abraham does not say this, but I have this is how I explain meditation. Meditation is the space between our thoughts. When one thought comes to an end and before the next thought starts, there's this tiny little space. And all we have to do is to grab on to this space. And when we do, we go deep within, and we reach this space over here where everything is quiet. And you feel like you're in a cocoon of warmth and love. You feel as if someone is cradling you. And you feel just so amazing. And the main thing that happens when you get to this place is that you have withdrawn your five senses from the world. And because you have withdrawn your five senses from the world, you don't hear anything. You don't see anything. All your senses are withdrawn and pointed within. And if you are not getting to that space, if you are still somehow connected to the world, then you are not getting the maximum benefit of what we call meditation. That is what silent meditation is all about. Guided meditation, sometimes, especially annoyingly for me, if the voice of the guide keeps talking all through the meditation, then they are not letting you withdraw your five senses from the world. Because you're still listening to their voice. So that means that you're still connected to the world outside of you. Whereas in meditation, we take our focus away from the world outside of us and we go within, deep within. And that is the impetus for my having created my own meditation, which is based upon Abraham's teachings and based upon this book. Because because I think that there's more value to be had from the process of meditation, and I want all of us to have that value. Okay, so moving on. As you quiet your mind, okay, so hang on one second. This is not a process where you work on your desires, and that is why I always say meditation is not a place of asking. You've already asked. You ask all day, every day, throughout the day. All prayer is about asking. God, I want this. God, would you please give me this? Meditation is a time for receiving. It's a time for allowing that which you have already asked for to start flowing towards you. Doesn't mean it's going to manifest in a 15-minute meditation session, but for sure you're going to pull it closer to yourself. And that is the key. Okay, so Abraham says this is not a process where you work on your desires, but instead this is one of quieting your mind. As you do so, any resistance will subside and your state of vibration will rise to its natural, pure state. Okay, so Abraham gives us a couple of clues or indications of how we feel when we are in meditation, and they say that you will feel a sense of detachment. That is what I mean when I say you take your five senses away from the world. And then Abraham says you may feel no real difference between your nose and your leg. In fact, because you've withdrawn your senses, you don't feel any body part at all. It's almost like you don't have a body while you're deep in there. And as you are going into meditation, you can feel, sometimes you feel heaviness in some part of your body. Sometimes you feel a tingling sensation. Sometimes you feel as if your body is swaying like this, even though it may not be, but you feel as if it is. Yeah, you can feel a lot of, sometimes you feel like yawning, and that is also an indication of your connection with your inner being. It's funny because that reminds me that when I'm doing these presentations with you every night, I feel like yawning a lot, and that is because while I'm doing these presentations and reading this book through, I am connecting with my source, with my inner being, and that's where the information is coming from, because there's no pre-preparation, there's no design to this. Okay. Over time, if you meditate regularly, you will become quite sensitive to the way the higher frequencies feel within your body. And you get to a stage where meditation becomes like a switch. Soon as you tell your body, I'm going to meditate, you automatically go into that place. You find that space between your thoughts very quickly, and you go deep within and you start experiencing the deliciousness of it. Now, I know in the beginning when I started to learn meditation, I would go into meditation, stay for a little while, and come out again. And then I would feel unhappy with myself, unsuccessful, until I realized. And the person who helped me realize this was Deepak Chopra. He's the one who really taught me how to meditate. And I am forever grateful for what I learned from him. But what I learned was you don't always go deep within. Sometimes you go deep and then you come out and you start again. And it's okay. And then even for the most practiced meditators, it depends on the kind of day that they've had. If you've had a busy day and there's been a lot going on and you have a lot on your mind, sometimes it takes longer to get into meditation. And sometimes you go there and you get kicked out because you haven't withdrawn completely. But some days you go in and you stay and you come out, which is fantastic. So having said that, you don't need a lot of meditation. You only need maybe 15 or 20 minutes every day. If you could do that, that would be amazing. And you only really need to get to that space between your thoughts and stay there maybe for 2 minutes. But if you can stay there for longer than 2 minutes, of course there is more benefit to that. All right, so then Abraham says, An effective meditation would be one that distracts you from any physical awareness that causes resistance within your vibration. And that is why I say use a thought anchor. Thought anchor is the thought that you're going to keep coming back to in your meditation. Use a thought anchor that is unemotional. And when your thoughts wander, your mind, being as powerful as it is going to ask you a question. And the question is going to be, Zara, you said you wanted to meditate for 15 or 20 minutes, but here you are thinking about your grocery list. Would you like to keep making your grocery list, or would you like to go back to your meditation? And that, my dear friends, that is the litmus test. How you answer that question is the litmus test. That is what self-discipline is all about, is to say, no, my grocery list will still be waiting for me once I finish my meditation. So I am going to stop now, and I am going to go back to my thought anchor and resume my meditation, because that's what I'm here for. And everything else in my life is going to be waiting for me after these 15 minutes are over. Okay? So, and then Abraham says this really important thing that I want to read out to you. Sometimes people say, Abraham, is it normal for all hell to break loose in someone's life when they begin the meditation process? And we say, yes, because you are bringing yourself to a place of heightened sensitivity so that your formerly achieved patterns of lower vibration are now less comfortable to you. Okay, so as you practice meditation, you really learn about mindfulness. Because what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is about, if my thoughts wander, I'm going to bring them back to the now point of point in time. And when you do that, you're coming back to your thought anchor. So meditation, in fact, teaches us so much about being mindful. It teaches us to recognize when our thoughts are wandering to things that are not helpful for us. And it teaches us alignment and self-discipline. Okay, some other ways to raise your vibration. So Abraham says, now there are other ways of raising your vibration. Of course there are. I mean, I can enjoy a really, really good meal, and that will take me right to the top of the emotional scale. And I'm sure you have things like that too, that take you right up the emotional scale. So Abraham says, going to a beautiful place, petting your cat, walking your dog, and so on are also things that help with alignment and take you up the emotional scale. Your goal is to release any thought that causes resistance so that you are then in a place of pure positive thought. It is not a problem if you cannot completely quiet your mind, unless your mind is chattering about negative things. If you are softly thinking about pleasant things during meditation, it can be of value. But don't try, because meditation is not about trying. Meditation is about allowing. Okay, beautiful words here. This is a state of allowing where for just a few moments you stop running the show. You stop trying to make anything happen. This is the time when you are saying to your source energy, to your inner being, to your God, or whatever you want to call it, here I am in a state of allowing. I am allowing source energy to flow purely through me. So Abraham says 15 minutes of this can change your life. And yes, 15 minutes are more than enough. Okay. A big benefit that you will notice right away is that things that you've been wanting will slowly start showing up. Now, why is that? Well, it's because you raise your vibration, you go up the emotional scale. And from high up on the emotional scale, everything that you want can start coming to you. Okay, so What else? Well, Abraham, if I've really been negative for 50 years, is it going to take me 50 years to turn it around? No. No, Abraham says. 15 minutes ought to do it. In 15 minutes, I can undo all of the disallowing that I've learned to do in the past 50 years. Abraham says in 15 minutes you can allow. You do not have to undo anything. See, that's the thing. Law of attraction is not about going backwards and trying to fix the past. Law of attraction is about starting here, now, in this moment, and going forward. And that is what meditation is about. It is about starting from where you are and going forward. So Abraham says that just 15 minutes once, the one time, is not enough. You have to get into a habit of doing your meditation because it has a cumulative effect. So Abraham says, but the next time you go into one of those negative thoughts, you are going to be more aware of it. Your guidance system is going to be stimulated so that now you will be more aware, probably for the first time in your life, of what you are doing with your non-physical energy. And that's important, isn't it? Because the only reason people go negative is because they don't know that they are going negative. If we knew that we were going negative, we wouldn't do that to ourselves, would we? Okay, what could I accomplish in 30 days? So this is really important. I think this is really valuable to know. Do you know that you could have every deadly disease known to man, and some they have not even figured out yet, in your body right now, and tomorrow they could all be gone if from one day to the next you learned how to allow energy to flow. How wonderful is that? And how hopeful is that? We are really not encouraging those kinds of quantum leaps. They're a little uncomfortable. What we are really encouraging is that every day you be selfish enough to say, nothing is more important than that I feel good. And I'm going to find ways to do so today. And one of those ways is meditation. I'm going to begin my day by meditating and bringing myself into alignment with my source energy. And as I move through the day, I'm going to look for opportunities to appreciate so that all day long I'll bring myself back into source energy. If there's an opportunity to praise, I am going to praise. If there's an opportunity to criticize, I am going to keep my mouth shut and try to meditate. If I feel like criticizing, I'll say, "Here, kitty, kitty," and I'll pet my cat until that feeling goes away. Within 30 days of mild effort, not a lot of effort, mild effort, you can go from being one of the most resistant people on the planet to one of the least resistant people on the planet. And then those who are watching you will be amazed by the number of manifestations that begin to appear in your physical experience. Isn't that wonderful? So that, my dear friends, is the process of meditation as Abraham teaches it. I am going to pin another video in the comments that I did some time back about meditation, which I think will give you some hands-on tips on how to practice meditation, because as I explained it, for the longest time, I wasn't able to really get how meditation works. I used to feel like I was one of those wind-up toys, and you wind it up and you put it on the floor and it keeps going around and around until it has no more energy left. And that used to be me at the end of the day. So meditation has brought me a long way, and it is delicious. And once you get hooked to it, oh my God, I'll tell you what, this is an addiction worth having. So that's all I have for you tonight. Take care, dear friends, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.